is from the minority. The chair recognizes Deputy Minority Leader France Castro from the ACT Teacher Party List.
Thank you. Magandang umaga po sa ating mga sa ating pong lahat at kay Vice President Sara Duterte. So unang tanong, Madam Chair, ito po ay tanong po sa pamunuan, bagong pamunuan ng DepEd. Ano po yung ginagawa nila o may ginagawa ba sila o wala dito sa laptop corruption issue? Na ngayon ay alam natin dinidinig sa Senado, pero dito dahil meron din akong resolution, hindi pa rin. Pero tanong ko po sa bagong pamunuan dahil hindi naman sila involved dito, are you conducting probe inquiry about this laptop corruption issue in the Department of Education?
Madam Secretary.
Yes, thank you. Number one, we wrote COA requesting for a fraud audit, and COA already responded to us with regard to their conduct of a fraud audit inside the Department of Education, particularly for the laptop project. And then number two, within the organization, I already ordered the Chief of Staff to open an inquiry whether some of the personnel in the Department of Education were acting in ultra vires with regard to the decision making of modifying the procurement that was done for the laptops. So these were the two actions inside the Department of Education. Thank you.
Madam Chair, can we ask the DepEd to furnish us the written report and action about the action being done by the DepEd regarding to this issue? Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am. We will submit a copy of the report to the committee, copy furnished the office of the Honorable Castro.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Vice President. Madam Chair, kanina ipinakita yung krisis natin sa edukasyon. Yung ating kung gaano kalala ang learning crisis na kinakaharap ng mga estudyante sa iba't ibang antas. Elementary hanggang high school, very low achievement levels in reading, mathematics, science, at nagpahayag naman ang DepEd ng kanilang mga commitment at target, di ba, na gagawin. Pero wala pa po ako nakikitang konkreto, Madam Chair, sa kanilang presentation. Pero ang tanong ko, Madam Chair, bakit sa kabila ng ganitong kalalang problema ng ating mga estudyante, ang priority legislative agenda pa rin ng DepEd ay ang mandatory ROTC. Ano naman ang kinalaman ng ROTC sa pagpapataas ng reading comprehension, mathematical ability, and science sa ating mga sa ating mga estudyante? Madam Chair.
Madam Secretary.
Yes, thank you. Because the problems on access, equity, quality, resiliency, and well-being and governance, these have already supportive legislation. Ang dami-dami na pong nagawang legislation, magagandang legislation for basic education. And ang nakikita na lang po namin na so far sa ngayon na kailangan ng legislation ay yung mga wala pa pong legislation. So right now we are working on all the laws that were passed by Congress na nagsusuporta sa basic education po. Thank you.
Madam Chair, so legislation ang sinasabi ng DepEd. So ano po yung gusto nyong legislation para mapataas natin yung reading comprehension ng mga bata at saka yung mathematics and science abilities? So kasi itong ROTC talagang priority pa rin naman ito ng Marcos administration. So bakit ROTC? Bakit hindi yung para to answer the problem ng learning crisis na binanggit natin?
Madam Secretary.
Yes, apo. Primarily, na-mention po natin doon sa ating presentation, if the Department of Education is given the budget that it is requesting, we will be able to open more programs to address the learning problems of our students. So Initially po, lumapit na kami sa Pangulo at sinabihan ko po ang Pangulo na if you give me 100 billion, I will solve all the problems of basic education. And that is what I want to reiterate as well to Congress and the House of Representatives. If you give us, the people here sitting in front of you, 100 billion, we will be able to solve the problem in 6 years. Thank you.
Sana, Madam Chair, makita natin yung concrete na mga solution ng DepEd. Pangatlo, Madam Chair, regarding naman ito sa mga teachers, alam natin bakit hindi tayo nakakapag-encourage ng mga magagaling na teachers sa senior high school na katulad ng binanggit ng DepEd dahil nga sa kababaan ng sweldo at saka yung mga benefits natin ay talagang hindi rin naman ganoon ka-enticing. Naniniwala po ba dito ang DepEd?
We would like to request our USEC for the BHROD to present the wages, benefits, and emoluments of our teachers. Thank you.
Yes, Rep. Castro.
I opened it already.
You can use the microphone of Rep. Manuel, Rep. Castro.
Madam Chair, gusto ko pong pasagutin ng ating Vice President and Secretary ng Education. Naniniwala po ba kayo na dapat taasan ang sweldo ng ating mga guro?
Yes, okay. So we will not present the existing salaries, wages, and benefits that we give to our teachers. But I will relate what the Secretary of Labor and Employment and the Secretary of the Department of Education discussed about the salaries of teachers. So I presented to him a comparison of the salaries between the private educational institutions and public schools. And clearly, we see there that there is a wide disparity between the salaries of teachers in private schools. And the Secretary of Labor and Employment is of the opinion that the market standard for salaries is the private sector. So in this case, if the government continues to give or increases in the salary of teachers in the government sector, this will put undue pressure in the private educational institution, thus creating a mass migration of teachers from the private schools to the public schools, which we actually see now. We have private schools na nawawalan ng teachers dahil lumilipat po sa Department of Education. And this will force more closures on private schools dahil ang market standard po dapat ay ang sweldo sa private schools and private education.
Madam Chair, narinig ko na yan sa mga past administration. Laging kino-compare ang sweldo ng mga teacher sa public, sa private. Pero nakalagay sa constitution natin, dapat i-compare yon sa cost of living, syempre yung consumer price index, etc. Actually, yung 25,000 pesos na sweldo ng mga teachers natin, Madam Chair, way below yan kahit na doon sa mga counterpart sa ibang mga bansa. 50 to 60,000 yung pinakamababang sweldo ng teachers sa ibang bansa. So sana mapag-isipan ng Department of Education kung paano mapapataas natin ang sweldo ng mga teachers so that maka-entice tayo na mas magagaling ng mga teachers na pumunta sa public school, Madam Chair.
Yes, thank you, Kong Castro. We really take note of your comments and we will endorse that to the Department of Budget and Management, which decides on the salaries of government employees. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President. So, magkano po yung proposal ng DepEd sa medical allowance, sa teaching supplies allowance, at saka sa internet allowance? Dahil sinasabi natin ngayon, di ba, we think out of the box. So isa sa pwedeng madagdagan sana ay yung mga allowances ng teachers dahil sila na lagi yung nag-aabono eh. So kung we think out of the box, so magkakaroon pa rin ng blended learning. Narinig ko po sa DepEd, institutionalize yung blended learning, di po ba? So meron po bang proposal ang DepEd para taasan ng medical allowance? Kasi 500 yan sa kasalukuyan.
Kindly wind up, Rep. Castro.
Yes, Madam Chair. Yung internet allowance ay 1,000. Yung teaching supplies allowance ay 3,500. So, meron po bang proposal para madagdagan itong mga allowances ng teachers po para dun sa tinitingnan natin na think of the box na mga method and strategies in teaching?
Madam Secretary.
Yes, we call Yusek Sevilla of the Finance Run.
Yusek Sevilla.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's a national budget call issued by the Department of Budget and Management. This is an instruction to all government agencies kung hanggang saan lang po ang pwede nilang isubmit at i-propose. Kasama po ang personal services or mga pangsweldo, benefits, and allowances na hindi po allowed na mag-propose ang government agencies kasi ito po ay standardized or a policy that should be done by the Department of Budget and Management and the Civil Service Commission. So even po tayo ay mag-submit din doon, automatically tanggal po ito sa system ng DBM. Kasi ang cash allowance ay isa pong legal na benefit na ibinibigay sa ating mga teachers na under sa batas ng General Appropriations Act. So ito po ay isang power of the purse na pwede po mangyari dito sa Kongreso at sa Senado. Maraming salamat.
Last manifestation, Madam Chair. So kung magpapasa po ng batas ang Kongreso ng dagdag na medical allowance, teaching supplies, internet, susuportahan ba ito ng DepEd?
That was your last question.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Secretary.
Yes, ma'am. Of course, we support all the legislation that will help our teachers, and we request Congress as well that if there are legislations on this subject, to include the budget, the appropriation, nakalakip po doon sa benefit na ibibigay sa kanila. Thank you.
Salamat, Rep. Castro. And the last interpellate is from the majority. The chair recognizes Representative Rufus Rodriguez.
Thank you very much, our beloved chair, Stella Kimbo, our speaker, Martin Romualdez, and of course to the DepEd family, headed by the second highest official of the land, the #1 official from Mindanao, the Honorable Mayor, now Vice President Inday Sara Duterte.